Let us talk about the secret behind America's innovation capacity. Yes, Americans are creative. Yes, Americans are bright, highly educated. They have rich infrastructure. They have a rich academic system. But in absence of war economy, could America succeed in creating innovation success stories? Starting from the aerospace to computers to internet, the list goes on, where Americans have succeeded in creating a large innovation economy. In the East Coast, Route 128, a ring road around Boston, full of high-tech farms. In the West Coast, Silicon Valley, iconic success story of innovation of modern America. But if war economy was not there, could those success stories show up in America? Answer is no. Why? Most of their great innovation success stories started the journey in a very embryonic form, in a very primitive form. There was no customer, even for a decade, in the civilian market. Like Wright brothers' aeroplane. Who would use that primitive device? It used to fly only for a few minutes at the beginning, and often it used to fall on the ground and killed and injured onboard people. Almost for 20 years, there was no civilian use of that great idea, which has created a more than $1 trillion industry till today, and it has room to keep growing further and further. Basically, it has no limit of growing. American Navy, American Air Force, they were the initial customers of those primitive planes. In 1920s, those primitive planes were ordered by the American Navy, by American Air Force. They were very fragile. Hardly they could fly for several hundred kilometers at low altitude. And that was good enough to drop a bomb. And same thing is for the computer. In 1950s, the root of computing was developed in America due to your defense program. That program sharpened America's ability of programming, sharpened many critical technologies, even mouse, point and click technology. In absence of this defense program, America's computing technology could have not get the strong root to keep growing as a big, large tree. And same thing is for internet, same thing is for the cellular communication. As a matter of fact, for the period of almost a decade or so, defense remains the sole customers. And upon buying these primitive products, what the US military does, or US defense program does, it creates the market of those primitive products across the world. And that is a place America has strongly coupled its industrial economy, its science and technology research, its military capability, and its foreign diplomacy. They maintain a warlike situation in the world so that other countries, not only NATO member countries, also other countries of the world, including the countries of the Middle East, would keep buying those products. And that would producing the revenue for the American defense industry. And that money would eventually come to the research in developing them further. Eventually, there is to a situation when the appeal for the civilian innovation starts. And that is a place we start talking about the formation of startups and growth of those startups. But what are those startups doing? Basically, they're refining and assembling technologies which were developed for the defense purpose. And America already made money out of those defense technologies because America has a monopoly in the global defense market. And America maintains a war-like situation across the world so that the demand remains there, demand keeps growing there. Now, if that defense monopoly was not there, if that war economy was not there, then those startups would not have get the technologies to assemble them together and fine tune them eventually and making a great commercial success stories. Question could be, is it also true today? Let's look into the iconic innovation potential of 21st century. That is autonomous vehicle, or robotic vehicle, self-driving vehicle. Who started this journey? In 1980s, American defense. Their defense programs, ARPA, DARPA, they start financing for the autonomous vehicle for the military. So that the military would send those war machines without having their soldiers inside them, so that casualty of American soldiers would be far less than before. And that kept the fueling of the growth of the technology to make our civilian automobile human free or driver free. So in absence of US defense's role in 1980s, in 1990s, Google would not have found any technology, any idea to begin with. So that 20 to 30 years long research funded by the US Department of Defense to meet their requirement of driverless war machines has basically fueled the journey of startups of producing driverless or self-driving car for the civilian market. And as a matter of fact, this is the genesis of the formation of the Silicon Valley. Most of the technology firms who started their journey at forming the Silicon Valley, like a Hewlett Packard or Variant Technologies, their initial customers were defense. In absence of the demand for the defense, these companies could have not even any agenda to begin their journey. Many countries of the world who are now aspiring to benefit from innovation economy, unfortunately, they cannot couple their defense agenda with their civilian agenda. They do not have war economy. And that is the reason these countries need to figure out a different path other than following America. Yes, there are alternatives for them to follow, like Japan. Japan was strictly decoupled from the modern military economy or military technology economy. But Japan took the advantage of military technology and kept refining it and eventually made a huge commercial success story. Same thing is for Taiwan. Same thing is for South Korea. So innovation economy manifests in multiple forms. It happens to be America's innovation economy is powered by the military or war economy. But there are alternatives. And that is the reason, instead of trying to follow America's model and trying to follow America's Silicon Valley's success and trying to replicate them, we need to look into smarter alternatives which work for a certain country, for a certain industry, for a certain farm. And that is the place it requires significant investigation of the past dynamics to draw the lesson, to figure out the solution which works with a given context, as copy or replication is not a solution.